out of you because I'm getting nonstop, over and over again, targeted ads that show evidence that the military is watching. And not any of you are radical, because I feel like if you watch Casey content, you're barely functioning. You know, there's no doubt that my content makes the world a better place. But when I get targeted ads about people talking about being on government watch lists, followed by recruitment videos, followed by protect your social security number and protect your thing from hackers, and then they personalized ads about places that only I know about, like things that are important to me that I've been to in the past, like businesses I used to work at in 2018, 5 states away, that I've never, this phone has never seen, and I did not have a YouTube account before that, or after, when that was going on. So just to protect everybody and their privacy, I've muted a lot of people. When you comment, I won't see it, but it will help the algorithm. I'm waiting to see if anybody shows up, and we're going to talk about what happened with Israel today, and I'm going to offer a lot of solutions that will make people's lives a lot better if you take it seriously, for the people watching the VOD later. So, the pros are here. If you didn't see the thumbnail, they're mad. My spirit guides are purposefully adding pauses when I speak because it challenges the people watching. If I were to keep it a steady flow like this to keep them engaged, it would be to the wrong people. The people that can stand to see me pause for a second, or maybe move the narrative in a direction that might make them a little uncomfortable, like a slight pause and then I leave, it's not for them. So, if you didn't click out there, you're closer to a chosen one than most people. Or you're desperate. It's been getting very quiet lately. It's been getting really quiet lately. It's been getting like so quiet. You can hear movement. Control Alt Delusion. You might learn something, man. People that are very important in society value my opinion. And I choose to live like this because I feel it's the most challenging, and I like my separation from society because I feel like it opens me up to a level of freedom impossible. And I feel like spiritually, of these relationships that everyone has, keeps them interwoven in something that doesn't allow for them to have this level of freedom. You're going to see during this video that I will get this focus, and the crows that are surrounding me will start to get very upset. So we're excited for that. Now that we have 5 people, we're just going to go really quickly. I smoke cigarettes because I do the process to regenerate my brain cells, and I don't fill myself full of crap. I'm allowed to have 1 or 2 a day. There was a time when I would smoke a few packs a day. It does help you focus, but it does disturb your frequency. I like to do it because I feel it's a challenge. Back when I would DoorDash every day and I would be in inner cities in 2022 and everyone was aggressive and angry, it was really challenging to make my art, and that forced me to persevere to get out of that situation, which helped me achieve a higher level of everything. So I just like them. It feels grounding, and I smoke American Spirits, and I sit out in the woods. Escape. It's not necessarily escape because I go in every day and I talk to people and I meet with people that deal with the public, like community action programs and churches and the government and police. And I talk to people that are dealing with people in the state of the world right now. And I always have a lot to offer. And I travel and I make a big difference. And in places that treat me with really hostile prejudice, I stayed in and I acted as the homeless guy for a while because I wanted to live outside. recorded the police doing horrible illegal things, and they got so mad they showed up and shot at me. When I infiltrated the network and I found out that one of the cops was targeting homeless women to give them bogus charges so that he could solicit sexual bribes and then rape them. And I knew it from the start. The first time I met him, my hair was down. My hair was combed back then, but my hair was down. When I put my hair up to look at him and he saw that I was a guy, he stepped back like this and put his dick out of the way. Immediately. Especially because I did have the camera rolling too. He got up right in my face, his dick was like this. I was just sitting outside a business I had permission to be at. But then I put my hair up, surprise! Find out a couple months later that's his spiel. He goes out and uses his qualified immunity to molest people or else. So I've done a big thing. I was just waiting to see if anyone else would pop in. We'll start off with that our bodies are made to house information and emotion, and that allows us to process things and to actually think. In a world where everyone's got attention deficit disorder, the world is really competitive right now, and the world is extremely unhealthy, taking bad foods. They're unable to think. And when you're unable to think, most people tend to follow their impulses. Another thing is that even this app and all apps on your phone, your entire phone is designed to target the same parts of your brain that heroin does. People that stay on their phone and have a screen time of longer than 30 minutes a day, there they go. Longer than 30 minutes a day, you are technically a heroin addict with the way that your brain has now guided you towards the spikes in the dopamine in the same sector of the brain that heroin does. The same way you see the junkies running around looking for their fix desperately, most people, if it's not you, good job, but most people, without realizing it, have developed a relationship with their phone, and most of their thoughts are subconsciously guiding them towards that fix. How's that? It's a hard truth. Nobody likes to hear it, but that's the only way out. That's why I think that living in the woods is so important. Yeah, this guy sucks. Watch. I'll keep him. It sucks. I have so much to offer, man. And I do it for free. So, the only real way that I've seen to be able to maintain that high frequency that does put a target on your back, but it allows you to find what's called authenticity, is by removing yourself and giving yourself the rest you need. People that are overworking themselves right now, working jobs 60 hours a week, they're suffering. I see them and they can't function. They're trapped in something that stirs and gets angry when someone with peace enters the environment. But the select group of people that are doing the inner work sit there and can easily see who's trapped and who's not. So if I could help with any way, it would be just to provide a means for people to elevate themselves out of that trap, to use their mind correctly. What's the Casey way? You take out the bad first to add in the good. I don't see a problem with smoking one cigarette a day. But I don't think weed is helping anybody. I think that weed traps you in a space where you think you're functioning and at peace, but really you have sacrificed yourself and became something different. It does not really open you up to authenticity in the way that you think it does. Weed doesn't help anybody. All I see from people that smoke weed is that they lose what's called abundance. where everything just flows out of you infinitely. You can be yourself if you're brave. You're not focused on the wrong things. Even though sex and music is better, and people with PTSD like veterans might be able to function, it's still an escape. Like this guy said. He watched me for 1 minute and had so much to say. The next thing, which I've said, I've beaten to death on this channel, but all the things that go on in your brain, all of your emotions, everything in your body is in the gut, from the sun, your environment, and your relationships. Starting with the gut, when you stop eating, your body goes through self-cleaning mode. They convinced us that not eating makes you fatter, it makes you weaker. What it does is that it starts to take out all the damaged and dysfunctional things, and then it repairs it better if you're taking the right things. Once you cut out the bad, you will be weaker and sluggish for a little bit. It's a threshold. But you'll shit out everything. You'll start to remember what it's like to actually be hungry. And you'll be able to get to know yourself because you will have refined all of the toxic bad habits out of your body. Because the addiction of food, just like the phone, is always guiding your mind towards that escape. I would do, if you're obese, I would start doing 24-hour fasts. If you can't do 24-hour fasts, I would start just by changing what you buy a month. If you have food stamps, it's great because you can find one meal that you enjoy and just get a bunch of it. Like I get canned chicken and a bunch of different spices and sauces so that I can have a difference, but it's the same good food. Changing my diet was huge. Being able to rest is huge. Then omega-3s. Because most of everything is designed to degenerate your brain, even just going into town and talking to people. At this point, going into town and talking to people degenerates you because nobody's doing the work. So you're influencing yourself in the wrong way. What you consume consumes you. So in order to make it through these trying times, what's going to happen in the future, you have to enter that crucible, that forge. You have to put yourself in that new environment with the right tools so that you can go through that transformation. I found it's a lot easier to do that than to try to do it in your life. Trying to be in there and make a change puts you at risk of spiritual warfare really heavily because everybody feels it. It stirs up all the bad stuff and all the parasitic stuff in their body that's keeping them trapped. So when you just even think about making a positive change, it sets off a signal that stimulates everybody subconsciously. I would DoorDash, take omega-3s, do the whole thing. Even in my apartment, when I had my apartment, the positive changes I was making was, even though I was sitting alone in my apartment, people were coming in. People were showing up at my door. People were making loud noises near me. They moved from where they were sitting to right outside my window. It felt like they were feeding off of it. When I beat that threshold, all of a sudden, police were showing up with noise complaints, and I'm completely silent in my room. My neighbor would start having panic attacks and freak out and get angry, and he would start coming to my door to lash out at me. And it got so bad, there was There was no one I could turn to. It was just me and my songs and God. And I had to leave. I literally had to leave my town to be isolated in my car and travel where I'm not hindered by any relationships, and I could stay in that perseverant light so I could go places. And that brought me to a way where I became a role model, and my influence would raise, it would stir everything, it would change everything, and then I would be out before any response. I remember vividly going into places like businesses like McDonald's to pick things up, and I would walk in and everybody would be like elated and the people would start stomping and spitting. They would like twitch, they'd like get right next to me. They couldn't handle it, but I would go up and I had the skills and discipline that I would go, and I used to do pickup artistry, so I would talk to the girls like a normal person because I had gone so far. I wasn't hindered by like social anxiety and trying to be in the game. I pushed myself to a better state of functioning. Whereas before, it was hard for me to leave my house. I was panicking always because I didn't know what to do. But removing myself and pushing myself and doing the things to make my life better made a good part of the state much better because of all the people that I met. But to reiterate, when I was stuck and trying to live in my life and make those changes, all it was doing was putting a bigger target on my back. So I would find your place, whether that's this summer, say you could get an inflatable raft in your car, park it somewhere safe, like at a park, and spend the day, like a waterproof backpack. If you're just addicted to your phone and just sitting around, go be addicted to your phone on the lake, floating far away, and just find a place where nobody goes. So you can have that safe space where you can set up a little shop that nobody's going to bother. And start to separate yourself, think, be with yourself. That's how you learn self-love. That's how you learn to have a relationship with the sun. That's how you learn that your body is a frequency machine. You get a higher level of vibes. Everyone will be more attracted to you. And the most important part, the reason that I even talk about this, because I don't care if you guys get fulfillment in your relationships. I don't care if you guys get money. What matters is that people can maintain the mental clarity when these sort of anxiety waves hit us. The stuff that I'm not supposed to say, make sure to double tap to like the video so it reaches more people. This is dangerous. But no one else is going to say it. When I watch Joe Rogan, they don't talk about it. All the spiritual YouTubers I followed in 2020, they're gone. They said that they had to stop. When they got, like the ones that got over 100K, they had to stop. They literally weren't allowed to keep going. It's scary. Especially because most people are trapped. They can't recognize that their beliefs and everything have kept them trapped. So when I say things like this, it doesn't reach a lot of people because it's like they have a shield. And I think that the separation in nature frees that. Because you have what's called clarity. I'm just making sure all the birds are still going around me. There was a lot of crows. When I kept going like this, all the birds have moved in. They're around here in a circle. The crows are just beyond that, and they were trying to get in and get me, but the crows have pushed back because of the amount of birds that have come in here. Clarity for me is being able to have a sense of focus and make decisions when you're not interfered with by your own fears, subconscious triggers, parasitic influences, and all the buzzing going around in people's brains with all the things they have going in life and the attachments and relationships they have, all these different narratives going around their minds. Clarity for me is the ability to sort of stand in the storm and have the rain not bother you. Being able to stay in that focus to function. When you get that, it's going to be a huge transformation. And it's going to be extremely difficult to maintain without these practices. How many people do you think heard that and are going to do anything? Do you think if these people were actually doing it or were anywhere close to what I was talking about, they would have liked the video? They would have had some positive things to say? And they wouldn't have left. People just aren't ready to hear it. And it's going to suck. How many people have seen that the new videos of all the missiles that are hitting across Europe and the Middle East? High-tech stuff that's designed to kill, that they're just unleashing on hundreds of thousands of people right now. The only reason no country has fired a nuke is because every other country would target them. If they had a way to protect themselves from missiles and nukes, like Trump's Golden Dome, they'd be firing nukes off at everyone. All these countries are just building up their ability to defend against all the other countries to a point where they're just going to let it loose on everyone before everyone can get them. Why? I don't know. I don't believe that there are terrorist organizations in the Middle East. I don't believe that your YouTubers were just kids that blew up on the internet. I don't think anything you see is real. I think these streamers are CIA assets that are trained when they're not streaming. Aiden Ross, Lacey, Zerka, DDG, Lil Uzi Vert, Andrew Tate. All of them have come forth, and you can find clips of them saying that they either work with the CIA or they say that they do blood rituals. What's the point of a blood ritual? When Aiden Ross came up, he was driving in his car and talking about growth over consistency and how to work hard every day at something and not worry about what other people think and just keep going and keep pushing to make something better and better and better until you're happy with your product and your art. Then he hit a certain amount of subscribers and he became gay. He brought in a bunch of rappers and talked about them fucking him and how all the rappers show up and they rape him, and he loves it. They would bring in rappers because he had all of the attention, and if the rappers wanted to stay, they would have to be gay with him. Then there was a video that keeps getting taken down but keeps popping back up of a kid that was a good famous streamer. He blew up, and he said that the only way that he could continue streaming at his level of fame was that he had to go into a room, and then a bunch of famous people with Aiden Ross showed up out of a second room into this room, and they all had blood all over them, and they did a ritual on him, and he had to keep going to those rituals in order to maintain his flow of income. And at that point, his family's life was in danger. Once you get to a certain level, it's either you do it or everyone you love dies, and you go to jail for the rest of your life. So don't believe anything anyone with over 100K says on the internet. They're all doing it. And when I was 18, they tried to get me to do it. And I left. And I came home. And that's when my supposed schizophrenia took off. Because of just invasive thoughts, and my environment became so hostile. And I would get moments where I couldn't move. I'd start getting sleep paralysis during the day. Imagine you're just standing here, and then all of a sudden your body locks up and you can't move. And then people show up. You see, like, there's a car over there, and the guy's just staring at you. And then that's fine. And the next day, that guy's back. And then the next day, you feel it. And you break free and you go look outside the forest, and the guy's still standing there. And then you go into a store, and a different person comes up and gets right next to you. And then that just keeps happening for months. Then you go to a public park, set up your computer to start making music, and somebody shows up with a t-shirt that says, "I'm an MK Ultra target," and he just stands there looking at you. And then a year later, on the same day, a year later, the exact same day, a year later, someone shows up and stands at me the same way, and I'm like, it's not real, it doesn't exist. But I look for a second, and his shirt says, "I survived MK Ultra programming," and all I got was this stupid t-shirt. Remember when I asked for bikes? I asked for things on my live stream, and then within an hour, the thing I asked for was right down the road, just in the middle of the road. Like someone had showed up and dumped it. So I've been having incredible dreams. And I'm having faith. I'm able to function if I do very slow things, and I influence myself with positivity. I watch videos of people that get up and do things every day, and that motivate, and that they work together and they hang out like friends that get together and build things and go on adventures. And then that I slowly churn that, and I just keep the focus going, and then that gets me motivated enough that I have the breakthrough and I'm able to do things. I solved my motivation issues. I was not. I think if this is my mom watching, and just that now that I have a collective, I think the issues they're going through come to me. And without that practice that I just spoke about, I become and fall victim to their problems. So I had trouble cleaning my house. It took me 2 months to clean 10 feet of space that took 15 minutes. Because I would get up and then my mind would stop working and I'd start going in all different directions, and I would start to feel pain in my stomach, and I would just, I'm going to go back and rest. I figured out how to solve it. What bird is that? Next thing, nobody wants to hear. But people are going to need to be able to grow their own food. People are going to need to go out into the woods, right to a field, and put potatoes. People have figured out on TikTok to solve pests, you can put two different metals together and then a type of screw on top of it, and it creates this field that the bugs can't enter. You hear it? And that's it. I would say that everyone should prioritize the solar panel. Yeah, that comes later. Anything else I say, what people aren't ready to hear it. So we're going to chill out for a little while. Let's see. The environment's very draining. There are some places you go in and you get flooded with motivation and inspiration, and everything just seems to work in your favor. Some parts of the woods and different parts of town, you go in and it builds you up. And some places it's like a vacuum, where it's just nothing works. The pastor at the church down the road is leaving today. They're having a goodbye party for him. I think he's like 30s, and he's getting replaced by someone who's early 30s. So I don't know how that's going to change things around here. If it clears up, I might go down and visit. You have to purge your audience. Having a number that increases brings a lot of jealousy to certain people. Being positive brings a lot of bugs. And my tarot reader, I had a tarot reading, and I just wait for they're being so obvious now. Like, I'll get the polar bear, I'll get the little polar bear, and then the tarot reading will say, okay, the totem animal is a polar bear, and I'm seeing a lot of birds surrounding you, and I'm so happy for you. I'm seeing what you just did. It looked like a bunch of bugs got burned off and flew away, and all the bugs were like stuck on you. And they talk about this narcissistic Aquarius that just won't leave me alone. And how disappointed my ancestors are in them. And that justice will prevail. This is what. Later, losers.